Hi everyone, I'm Gong Hongbin from Xiamen University. It's my pleasure to present here. The title of our paper is Accelerating Garbage Collection of 3D Flash Memory while Deploying Internal Parallelism. This is joint work with my dear colleague from Tsinghua University. And first, I will introduce some concepts and principles of flash memory. Flash memory has three basic operations, include read, write, and erase. Where read and write are performed in units of page and erase operation in units of block. And Flash adopts the out-of-place update mode, which requires to allocate the new free page for update request and invalidate old page. For instance, we update date A in block 1, a free page in block K will be allocated for the new A, and the original old A in block 1 will be invalid. The full flash memory invalid page can be overwritten until they are erased. However, since erase operation is using the block, and the block may contain valid page, so if a block that contains valid page is directly erased, valid page will lose, thereby the concept of garbage collection is proposed. So what is garbage collection? Garbage collection consists of two phases, relocate valid page and erase victim block. Generally, the block with the least number of valid pages will be selected as victim. During garbage collection, all valid pages in victim block will be relocated to other free page, and the victim block will be erased to obtain a new free block. Then I will introduce the difficult phase by planned flash memory. Planned flash is limited by capacity due to the limitation of process technology. It's hard for planned flash memory to further increase capacity while ensuring data reliability. The most practical way to increase capacity is to store more bits in the flash steels, and flash steel use load age threshold to identify the stored data. For example, in single-level steel mode, each flash steel stores only one bit, so two-stage load age are required. But in multiple-level steel mode, each flash steel stores 2 bits. It requires 4-stage load age, and when flash steel stores 3 bits, it requires 8-stage load age, and the number of bits stored in the flash steels increase. The spacing between adjacent stage load age becomes closer and closer, which increases the probability of data error. So in order to increase the capacity of flash memory without sacrificing data reliability, a 3D flash memory structure is proposed. This structure increases the capacity by stacking vertical to solve the problem of plane area limitation. It can significantly increase flash capacity, but it also brings a new problem. The increase of flash capacity is accompanied by the increase of block size, but the larger block size will increase the number of valid pages in the victim block, which will increase the overhead of garbage collection. This may cost more, and more requests will be blocked. So a larger block size deteriorates the garbage collection operations. We first have a test to compare the impact of garbage collection on read performance under planned flash and 3D flash. In this test, the two flash memory have the same flash capacity, except that 3D flash has a larger block size. From this figure, we can see that when the juice operation is urged, the read latency increases significantly, and the juice operation in the 3D flash imposes more serious interference to the foreground compared to planned flash. We believe this is because the more time-consuming garbage collection under 3D flash cause more read requests to be blocked. And then we analyze the component of garbage collection in the 3D flash memory. Garbage collection latency has two main components, including relocation latency and erase latency. From this figure, we can see that the relocation latency takes up the vast majority of the juice latency, and the relocation latency is mainly composed of read latency and write latency. And the write latency is much higher than the read latency, so we can analyze that the garbage collection latency is largely determined by the write latency. So our goal is to reduce the write latency during the garbage collection. So based on this, we propose a merge called Parallelism to reduce garbage collection latency by deploying internal parallelism. PowerGC can take advantage of the parallelism between channels and relocate page in victim block to multiple channels in parallel. The process to read all valid page from the victim block to the SSD controller, and then the controller distributes the data to the channel. And so now, our question is how much data should be distributed to each channel. To solve this problem, we construct a performance model. We know that in the process of data relocation, the number of blocks required and the channel is increasing. Since the access frequency of read request and the channel is different, channels with higher access frequency generally block more read requests. So based on this, we should first predict the read load of each channel, which is the frequency of read request, access, and then distribute more relocated page to channels with lower read load. We record the read access frequency of the channels in the recent page order and we record the read access frequency of the channel in the recent page order and the read load of channel. Based on the read load of each channel and the number of relocated pages distributed, we can predict the total number of block read requests. So our goal is to find a optimal distribution scheme that minimizes the number of block read requests. And in order to avoid data loss, the relocation time of the channels on which data collection occurs is the maximum relocation time of all channels. This is because until all data relocation is complete, only the victim block has the non-volatile data, which can result in data loss if the victim block is erased too early. So we now have a clear goal to minimize the number of read request blocks according to the performance loss model. However, if we consider all data relocation scheme over multiple channels and choose the one the least performing load, although this model can get a distribution scheme, it will bring a lot of computation overhead. So we come up with a graded distribution model. We first set a random initial value for each channel and it represents the number of pages relocated to that channel. We then seek to adjust the range band to achieve the most reduction by performing the following steps. We first try each pair of channels and calculate the reduction of the number of request blocks. We try to migrate one page from one channel to another channel. After that, we will choose the pair channels that lead to the most reduction and perform the adjustment, which is in the figure. We try to migrate one page from channel 3 to channel 2. Then we repeat the above adjustment step until either adjustment is useless or the iteration reaches the preset limit. On the basis of determining the distribution scheme, we further propose to balance the read load in each channel. We analyze the access frequency of the relocated page and then write the more frequency access data to the channel with the lower read load to balance the read load between the channels as much as possible. In this figure, channel 1 has the lowest read load, so we will locate the A1 with the most frequency access page to this channel. We designed a space-friendly hotness identifier to save our read load balance. We use the cosmic sketch to record the approximate frequency of data access. Take this figure, for example, for a flash page access by read request. The hotness identifier first pinpoint the 3 counters shared by the hash function and increase the corresponding values by 1. It then uses the smallest value of 3 counters to estimate its access frequency. In addition, in order to avoid the constant accumulation of counters value and downgrade the impact of historical access, we decay all counters value by half after performing a certain number of read requests. Our experiments are complete on a static simulator, and for parameter configuration, we borrowed some typical 3D Flash configuration. We said each block contained 768 pages, and the page size is 16 kilobytes. Unless otherwise specified, the number of channels will be 8 and the GC threshold is 20%. We compare coverage with baseline and GCD. The baseline relocate page of the victim block within a single channel, and the GCD which relocate page across multiple channels according to deep distribution. We first evaluate the normalized translator, which comprise 4 data relocation and the block array. Parallelism can reduce translations by more than 70% and more than 50% compared to baseline and GCD. We analyze the main reason is that parallelism can parallelize the data relocation to utilize the variable L resource across channel. We then analyze the read and write performance. And we found parallelism can effectively reduce read and write latency on different workloads. This is because baseline simply performs the location within a single channel, so in theory this suspends the incoming read request. Though GCD dispatches the relocated data across channel, it still does not well coordinate the execution of the read request and data relocation, thereby introducing significant interference. As a comparison, parallelism carefully arranged the data relocation based on the several rate of the channel, such that the interference is greatly alleviated. So for read requests, the time they blocked by garbage collection is reduced, and for write requests, located page in parallel across channel improve the utilization of our resource, thereby optimizing the assisted overall performance. Some design-related sensitivities is also required. We first measure the impact of GC threshold by varying it from 10% to 30%. And we assess the read latency, the write latency, and the GC latency on different GC thresholds. We found all latency increased with the GC threshold. This is because the number of relocated vertex page probabilistically group with the GC threshold, exacerbating the interference between the foreground access and the background relocation. In addition, parallelism can gain higher performance improvement when the GC threshold increased. This is because more pages to be relocated will inevitably lead to a longer relocation process, and parallelizing the data relocation across channel can effectively shorten the relocation time. We further assess the impact of number of channels and vary it from 4 channels to 16 channels. And we adjust the number of trips in each channel according to ensure that the aesthetic capacity remained unchanged. From this figure, we can conclude that parallelism still has the best performance even if the number of channels is changed. Based on this, we have some observation and analyze. We found GC latency of the baseline remained unchanged, while those of parallelism and GCD both declined when the number of channels increased. This is because the baseline serialized the GC operation with a single channel, and hence the GC latency is not affected by the number of channels. But when there are more channels, parallelism and GCD can leverage the available IO resource to increase the relocation parallelism, thereby shortening the GC latency. To conclude, we propose an approach that exploits in-channel parallelism to solve the problem of request blocking caused by the time-consuming garbage collection, and we tested overall performance and evaluated its sensitivity in the ICCD simulation. Thank you for listening, and that's the end of my presentation.